theanonymousjohnpodcast.
I didn't do it on purpose. All right, we're recording right now. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I have a guest in the studio tonight, and I don't know if you want me to use your name or not. Nope, we're not going to use this name. So, let's see. I'm going to turn on some camera because I am going to film this. Bam. Wrong. What the fuck? Okay, here we go. Alright, I think I got everything recording the way I want it. Alright. Now we go in there. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Number 3. Let's discuss some shit. So let's start off with tell us about some of the things that maybe you've experienced in your lifetime. I don't know if you want to talk about recent stuff or if you want to talk about things that
I could go way back to when before I was 7 years old.
Well, if you got something that...
Yeah, I actually had a dream and woke up to a knight in shining armor. I was in a bunk bed on the top. And to the right of me was a knight in shining armor standing up, right up against the wall. Freaked me out so bad that I ran to my mom and dad's room, slept in between with them. Next morning I woke up, wanted to go wake my little brother up to play. Got in that room, and on that wall was a big scratch. That's probably the first thing I can
So there was
remember.
something physical left from the experience, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean...
There was physical evidence
Yes.
of something standing.
Something was not something. It was a knight in shining armor.
That's what you see.
Period. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you woke up from a dream at this point?
Yeah, I was waking up. I mean, I was in the middle of the night and I had a dream or something and just kind of woke up. And when I did, I looked over to the right of me. And there he was standing, 1.5 foot away from the bed.
Totally lucid. You could hear, see...
3D everything.
Everything.
Yes.
So, do you think it was maybe sleep paralysis? Were you stuck in limbo in between a dream and...
To me, that would make sense other than the scratch on the wall. That's the part that kind of I can remember as a kid going, oh my gosh, what did I just experience?
Well, we don't actually know what can manifest in this dimension and what can't from, even from a sleep state or a sleep paralysis state, or we might be on the edge of, maybe even on the edge of a different reality or dimension at that time.
Right.
I've experienced sleep paralysis in my lifetime, and my story's a little different, but I was totally lucid, but I couldn't move. I could hear and I could see. And what I had seen was I was on my back and I was actually listening to my stereo, and I had then my early 20s, something like that. I was listening to the stereo, and just before I fell asleep, it was like the stereo muted itself, but I could still hear it, and I could still see the whole surroundings of the rooms, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak, couldn't move, anything like that. And I heard something like an Indy car from far away, and it was getting louder and louder and louder and louder, and when it got to its loudest pitch, it actually, a light a ball of light came through my wall and stopped above my bed. And then, for a split second, and then continued on
Huh.
out the other wall. Now, I seen this while I was in a sleep paralysis state, like I said. So,
Right.
I wasn't so sure what the hell that was. That could have been anything.
Right.
But I think that maybe we are on a edge of or a prefaces of a dimension when we're in that state.
I definitely believe that.
Okay, so we've covered kind of sleep paralysis there, so let's talk about something else. What you got going on? What other kind of things have you experienced?
I guess it would start about 25, 27 years ago. I met a woman, and she was doing laundry at my mom and dad's house by herself. Go downstairs and do laundry. She was wearing a flannel shirt of mine, so it was long over her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And she got down to about the third to last step going down, and she felt somebody hold her hand. She looked down, she could see the material was pressed against her hand. That was the first time that she's ever really experienced anything from that I know of. And since then, it's full out. I mean, she can pretty much communicate with them.
So she was
So
she was grabbed by something.
it was my sister. When I was 11 years old, my sister was 18, just graduated high school and got hit by a drunk driver.
Oh. Okay. So
automatically I knew that's who it was.
Right.
I
So you
said that
believe
was
that's
my
exactly who it
sister
was, your
because
sister.
I have felt her, but never knew for sure.
Right.
And then as the years passed, she's just, I don't know if you'd call mastered the craft, because she really don't see it as a craft. She don't like it. She don't like to talk about it.
Does
She
she
don't
see
like
herself
people.
as an empath or a medium?
I would, yeah. I mean, she can talk to animals. She can literally understand what they're saying to her that are dead.
So she is kind of a medium or an empath or something.
I
like that.
would guess yes. I mean,
or some sort of conduit for.
definitely.
Right.
She sees dead people everywhere. When she goes by a graveyard, they're all standing in the graves.
I just did an episode on talking to the dead through table tapping. That was the last episode that we did.
Yep.
Yeah, and a conduit, actually, from the other side can be anything from a person to an object,
Right.
And some people are just more sensitive to it, and some people are gravitated to it.
She can hone right into the point where if you're at a funeral, she can see the person that we're mourning,
Mm-hmm.
and what they're doing. And my mom, I get to communicate with her through her.
Oh, so you do that often through her?
Yeah. I mean, my mom and my sister is at my house most of the time. She died when she was 18. I was 11 years old, and she took me everywhere.
Right.
Anywhere she went, she always took me. So we were really close. But she likes to play practical jokes on me. Like, I'll go downstairs to put the load from the washer into the dryer. And I open up the washer and it's full of water. And I look and the knob's been pushed in. I've had that happen to me several times. She's poked me in the back while I'm down there. She plays practical jokes on me. She likes to see me get irritated.
So she's still hanging out?
Yeah. Yeah, and I get to communicate with her. There's a story there that I did some work with at my dad's in his basement, and I noticed her artwork box was laying on the floor in this basement, tended to get flooded. And I got really upset. I picked up the box and I put it on the pinball machine and continued working. I was rumbling about it. I was mad. And my ex-wife now, she came down to see us and said, is there something down here that you picked up? And I'm like, yeah, I've been picking up stuff up all day. And she goes, no, something of your sister's. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, her artwork box, a box of her artwork was on the floor, and that's bullshit. And she goes, well, she wants you to take it home. And I'm like, okay. And I getting ready. It was later in the day, so I was getting ready to leave, and I started going upstairs. She goes, no, you don't understand. She wants you to take it home now. So I walked upstairs with this box and told my dad I was taking it home. He really didn't have a choice. You know, that was my sister's, and she wanted me to have it. So a couple months go by, and I call up my other sister, which would be 5 years older than me. And I told her, hey, I'm getting ready to open up this box, and if you'd like to be here, you could. So we're looking at this box, and it's on top of a bed, and it's a box, so you got to look down in it. Okay? So it was up kind of high. You'd have to be standing, really, to look down in it.
Okay.
And my ex-wife was sitting on the floor on the phone talking to her mother, paying no attention to us, and we're going through this box. And my sister goes, oh my, I remember when she drew that, you were a baby. And it was a picture of me. She goes, I was sitting right next to her when she drew it, you know. And we get through a little bit more, and all of a sudden I get a snap of the fingers, and she's touching her nose and pointing towards the box. Well, there's no way she can see what I can see in this box. There is no way.
Right.
And it was a little clay etching, like you put powder on it and you could stamp with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, 11.5 by whatever paper size is, you know.
Yeah, 8 by 10 or whatever.
Yeah, something in there.
9 by 11, something like that.
So I found that, and I found some of the pattern, or the one she did with chalk or whatever it was. So we put that off to the side, and we're looking through, and we're talking about some of her artwork, and all of a sudden, right out of the blue, I get the snap of the fingers, her touching her nose again and pointing at the box. There's no way she could see, and it was another set of them. There's no way.
No.
So,
She couldn't see it all.
There's been too much evidence to me to tell me that it ain't. I mean, they're there.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
they're just there.
I might have been skeptical when I was a kid, but
You
the
know,
more
I
and
always
more
thought,
I've had things happen, and the more and more there's no way. I've asked my mother questions, and it comes out the way my mother would say it. My mother was half Cuban, half Mexican. So she always had that little attitude to her if she had to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it would come out. I asked, this is the last question I asked her, and this was just a few months back. Mom, is there a God? And in typical my mother fashion, she said my name and said, don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what my mom would have said. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and it came out of my ex-wife's mouth.
Sure.
But it was my mom. And I've gotten to talk to my grandmother, my grandfather, my one distant cousin, which was a real crazy lady.
Yeah.
Well, she was like 100% Cuban. And then multiple other people I've actually got to talk to.
Good. I don't think I've ever gotten to talk to anybody that's passed on.
That's
not that I don't feel their presence,
right.
but I don't think that I've ever actually had an opportunity to communicate.
Right.
You
She
know,
she
that
was
way.
at work one time.
Mostly because uh, I watched my mother do witchcraft and stuff,
Right.
table tapping,
Yeah.
Ouija boards, and all that. And I did a Ouija board seance when I was a kid, and it scared the shit out of me because the
I'm
results of those things are just can be,
It's
catastrophic.
crazy. Yes.
So, not that I didn't wanna, talk to my passed on friends or passed on family members. It's just that I would rather just leave it alone until I get there.
See, I love it, and my
I just,
ex does
like I
live
said,
with
I'd rather
me,
leave it
but-
alone until I get there. I've had too many experiences saying,
Right.
you know,
In the bad side of it all.
well, yeah, the more extreme side, we'll just
Right.
say, put it that way.
Right.
Not always a bad thing, but just more extreme than
Right. Well, yeah.
most people are normally used to.
She was at work one time at a gas station, and this lady come up to her all crying and stuff. She goes, "I'm sorry, my dad just died." Da, da, da. And she asked the lady, "Is your dad tall?" "Yeah." "Has he got this look? And has he got gray hair?" And she's like looking at her really weird. And she goes, "Well, I'll just let you know he's standing right behind you. He's with you." And there was some information she said, which I will not put on the air, but said to this lady, and she goes, "Oh my God, there's only two people that know about that."
Right.
And right then she's thinking that she's a gift from God. It's that weird. Now,
It is
like I
weird.
said,
No.
she'd rather not have this.
Right, exactly. Now,
She gets headaches from it.
my fiance is I don't know if she's a accidental empath or maybe somewhere down her DNA has passed on,
Right.
but she is like the person. I'm going to give you an example. She will say something, and then minutes later, or maybe an hour or so later, it'll happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is kind of strange. It's odd. I've never really experienced this before. I'm going to give you a case in point. We were getting ready to go and show one of her tractors that her and her father built at an engine show. We were at her brother's house, and before she was going to go and take off, go do something, and we were standing right there by the tractor, and as she was leaving, she turns around, she says to her brother, she says, "Hey, don't you let him get hurt, and watch that crank."
Right.
And
Right.
then she turned and she got in her car, and before she hit the end of the driveway, that crank come off that tractor and hit me right square in the nose and broke my nose.
Oh.
So, and that's not the only thing. I mean, there's other instances where she has stated something and then bam, it's happened,
Right.
So, I like to call it an accidental type of empath thing that she has. I don't think she practices anything
Right, it just
it's just
kinda
something
happens.
that just happens.
Yeah.
But it's kind of twisted, kind of weird.
Definitely. I've had dreams where I've had dreams that were so livid, and two weeks later, exactly the way the dream went down. It's like, holy smokes.
Now, our subconscious, when we do dream,
I don't dream very often.
me either, not anymore. That's kind of strange too, but I think it has something to do with all the weed we smoke.
Right.
But
Definitely.
yeah,
That's
and
why I
think,
smoke so
well,
much,
and
so
also
I
I
don't
think it
remember
has.
my dreams.
I think it also has something to do with fluorinated water and the calcification of your pineal gland in your third eye.
Yeah.
It's scientifically proven that fluoride calcifies your pineal gland, so your third eye gets blocked.
Right.
So nobody's awake. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, who knows if we're really conscious anyway.
Exactly. Nobody does. We
We
could
could
be
be in a total different state of mind than what we think we are.
we could be a program.
We could be just this little worm farm on some kid's dresser, too.
Exactly.
We don't know.
Or an alien's dresser. We don't know. A giant
Or-
alien race.
Or we're the aliens.
I kind of believe that, actually.
I think we're looking for
We don't.
us, our older us.
Definitely. Because I don't believe that we originated on this planet. And we couldn't have.
No, we destroyed another one. It was Mars.
Yeah,
I have a
maybe.
feeling. I really do.
I think it's
Just too much stuff that's
totally
out
possible.
there. I'm into all that alien type stuff and outer space. And
Well, it's
all
totally
that.
possible that we, as an ancient race, lived on Mars. And that at some point in time, we had moved.
Well, there's
Here.
just there's just some weird things like
How weird would it be if we actually colonized Mars again and made it terra firma like we have here on
and
Earth?
Earth's
with-
going to end up
with an
looking
atmosphere.
like Mars.
You know, with an atmosphere and everything
Right.
like that. Well, if we manufacture an atmosphere on Mars and then we go and we are trying to colonize Mars now as we
Right.
speak. You know, I'm sure our government's totally on it. But how weird would that be if we colonized Mars and made it a planet like Earth with an atmosphere?
Well,
and
I
everything
think
like
is
that?
what they're going to do. I think they're going to use that as like a stop point for refueling.
Oh yeah, well,
Supplies.
sure, like a
And to go on, they say
Kinda
there's
like a port.
millions of other Earths out there.
kind of like a port,
Yeah,
like a port if you were shipping.
yeah, you know. But I mean, there's so many weird things. Like, they got all these ancient ruins, and they got these big block walls with 100-ton rocks that are placed several feet up on top of other one or whatever.
Oh yeah, and the
And-
seams are so tight you can't put a piece of paper in
Right,
between.
right. But today we still don't have a big enough equipment to even move something like that.
Yeah, so
that makes you wonder, And then they uncovered this syringe type thing with a needle that went through it, and it was like a brass looking thing. And they said that was, I can't remember how old it was, but they used it to get rid of glaucoma.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Now, when did we start figuring that out? Wasn't really that far back. Maybe the 70s or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe the 70s.
Yeah,
and that's primitive.
Yeah,
Glaucoma.
yeah, that was primitive for then.
Right.
But I mean, more, maybe mid 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. They got it figured out. But now, this thing, it was pretty crude. They stick it on the eyeball, puncture it, and then they suck it up and spit it out. But it was still doing the same thing.
Mhm.
I mean, so who's to say that technology back then wasn't better than what we have today?
Well, if you think about it, we could be just repeating,
Yeah. Yeah,
We-
but we haven't gotten to that point
Well,
where, like, to move big boulders.
I'm just saying we could have been at a point where, at the time of the Sumerian races and the first race, the first written races, the first written history of races of people, the Sumerians, are said to have been, in cahoots with the Anunnaki, which were said to be living on a planet that circles our solar system every so many thousands of years.
Right.
Okay. That's if you believe in Planet Nibiru and if you believe in all that. But who's to say that at that point, I guess my point is this. They have writings of the Sumerian race, and them writings translate a lot of those stories. The same stories are in their texts that are in our Bible,
Right.
that are in the Quran, that are in the Torah. They're in a lot of the same holy books. Okay, so it's a lot of the same story, told slightly different ways, with slightly different characters, okay?
Right.
But who's to say that our technological age did not end when that great flood came through? When they
Right.
said they destroyed the world and the Anunnaki took off, you know, it said, screw that, we're not hanging around. You're all on your own now.
Right.
You know, they split, went back up to their planet because it was still hanging around the solar system, and then
Yeah.
they just hitched a ride and took off. Catch you later,
Yeah.
another 10,000 years or so, whatever. You know,
Right.
you don't know. But that was the thought that I had, that, well, maybe, yeah, we probably did have a very technological society at one time, and then we probably burned it right down. As
Yep.
humans do.
Yeah. Destroyed the planet.
Destroy their own, you know,
Yeah. Their
Yeah.
own lifeline.
their own lifeline. Exactly. Destroy their own crap. You know, I guess that's just human nature, is to burn down your accomplishments.
Well, I mean, human nature really isn't all that they're violent.
Definitely.
Overall, I mean,
Definitely. We're
you know,
violent.
look
we're
at
an
the
animal.
Catholics.
We're actually
Look
just
back,
an
you know.
evolved animal is all we are.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you think about it, we're an animal.
Yeah.
And the only reason that we believe that we're, you know, the shit up here is because we have cognitive thought, cognitive reason.
Right.
Not that all of our cognitive thoughts or cognitive reason is right,
We're right on the mark.
right on the mark at any time, but it's, you know, it's there. Yeah, so we can think, you know, we can think more than a chimpanzee can. We can think more than a dog can, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're the only intelligent.
Now, yeah, but
Thing
you
out there.
can say that, and
What's that, you pointing at yourself?
no, look at. And I've known dogs that are smarter than some people. So
That's true.
I
I
know.
have known some dogs that were smarter than some people.
I have a few dogs.
That's hilarious. True, too. Very true. You know, I think it goes humans, chimps, dogs, pigs.
I don't know. Dolphins
Dolphins.
are up. Yeah, dolphins are up there somewhere.
You know, I know dolphins, pigs, and dogs are kind of in the gray area. for
Yeah,
me.
pigs. I don't know. Pig might actually be smarter than a dog.
Might
They're
be,
pretty damn smart.
they might be smarter than a dog.
They're right. I mean, they'd have to be.
They're right there on
Yeah,
the money. I mean, they're
3 and
like on the
4,
line.
one way or the other.
They're on the line. But isn't it strange that we have this big diversity of mammals and reptiles and things on our planet that have intelligent thought,
Right.
but not cognitive thought?
Right.
I mean, does a fish have a soul?
I don't know.
Does a chicken have a soul? Do we know
If
these
it
things?
does, it sure is tasty.
Well, I'm just wondering because, you know, we're just animals. And the only reason we know anything about our own mortality is because we can reason ourselves, you know, at time and you know, in theories and all this other. We know that we're going to die.
Right.
You know, does a chicken know when it's on its way to the plant?
I don't
It's
know.
gonna be turned into a fucking
If I had
McNugget.
my head put on a stump and seen an axe coming at me, I would think that it's probably
You're
coming
going, hey,
to an
what the
end
fuck?
right there.
Be done. Hey, what the hell is going cluck?
And just run all over hell.
Right, exactly.
Bump into things.
Well, we used to slaughter chickens and ducks and geese. When we
I've
were
seen them
kids.
done by my neighbors up at my cabin.
Oh shit! When I was 15, I had my Aunt Sil call me, and she said, "Ed, would you come over and slaughter my rabbits for me?"
We're hungry.
All right. I says, "How many rabbits, Aunt Sil?" She says, "Oh, only a few." I get over there, and there's like 30 rabbits. Right?
I was waiting for 25.
There were like 30
That's funny.
rabbits there, man. And back then, I didn't have a killing cone or anything like that, or a killing fork
Right.
that you put on a tree, you
Yeah.
know, nothing like that. you know, and so
You
it
had
was
to hang on to 'em.
it was the hammer handle behind the head, you know,
Yeah.
pick them up by the ears and whack them with the hammer handle,
Yeah.
and then if you didn't get them right the first time, you sit there and kick and scream, and it's very
Yeah.
traumatizing for somebody to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I had a cat that ended up in my yard. I thought my dogs attacked, but it was late at night, and I got out there and looked, and it was gone, but my dogs never touched it. They just sat there and couldn't understand why it wasn't getting up and running, and I couldn't move. It was like stiffening up and that, so I went to put it out of its misery, and I whacked that sucker with a Babe Ruth swing right in the back of the head with a shovel, and the thing looked at me and meowed. Freaked me right out. I had to do it 3-4 times.
Jesus.
I mean, who would ever think, it takes that much to... Now, I'm an animal lover, period, so I was putting it out of its misery.
So everybody just get that.
I wasn't.
You're not torturing animals.
Yeah, we are not torturing animals. I have several dogs and...
We're animal lovers, we're animal
and
advocates.
Rats and
We like animals more than people.
And birds and had them all.
Just want to put out that disclaimer.
Yeah, I even have a
wife.
It's,
just realistically, if you've ever lived on a farm or have ever, lived rurally and then you had to provide for your family or you wanted something to eat.
Right.
We hunted all the time when we were kids. And
I used to hunt rabbits.
Yep, I used to hunt rabbits, I used to hunt bird, deer, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when we didn't hunt, we had animals on our property that we put down.
Yeah, slaughter them for dinner.
We had ducks, chickens, rabbits.
I can remember cows getting done.
Yep, well, my fiance's brother still does it that way. He raises hogs. And
Picks them up with a...
He raises cows and hogs, and he raises his own meat.
Yeah.
And he slaughters his own meat.
I can remember them shooting them and picking them up with the front end loader, and letting them drain. I was young when I seen that.
Oh yeah. It was we were raised that way.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a way of life.
Now people don't
kids
understand
get your ass out here in the yard and help slaughter these chickens.
People don't understand that. They go to the grocery store, it's already cut up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there. I mean, if they'd have been doing that for years with deer, all these people that don't like deer would eat it.
Right.
But it's the part that it gets slaughtered or shot, and then they gotta gut it, and then they cut it up and chop it up, just like every other animal they eat.
Exactly.
But they know what's happening to it.
Right. And you know exactly where it comes from, and it's not full of crap and steroids and all that. I'd rather know exactly what's in my chicken breasts than not.
Right.
I'd much rather be straight protein from Mother Nature.
Right.
than
right. And
shot with hormones and stuck in a cage
artificially.
This big. Right. They just grow it so the breast is big and then they kill it. And I think the lifespan of those chickens are less than a month or two.
It'd probably be longer than that.
A month or two. Probably.
No.
It's not longer. You can look it up. It's not longer than 6 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, at full maturity for the breast meat.
Huh.
That's all they're growing for.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they shoot them up with steroids and all these growth hormones and.
Yeah.
That's
like don't eat butter, eat margarine, it's better for you. And then they come out,
crap.
Oh no, please start eating butter again. Margarine ain't as good for you.
Hey, remember that apple a day thing?
Yeah,
don't do that.
Don't drink this no more, that ain't right.
Don't do that, that apple's got pesticides on it.
That's another thing, a lot of things they taught you in school,
Right. Oh shit.
You grow up and now that theories are or not theories no more, but they're proven science. Stuff like that. It's like, man, they lied to me.
All right, so let's talk about science for a second. How much do you believe? Have you ever heard of Bob Lazar?
No.
Okay. He was a scientist that worked at Area 51. And he came out in the 80s. The first time in the 80s he came out. incognito, and then came out in the news actually
Publicly,
Publicly.
right? Yeah.
and then told the story about Area 51 and reverse engineering spacecraft.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
So, any experiences?
Not so much with alien type stuff, but if you go, if you look at evolution, right, and you look and they tell you, okay, we got whatever, I don't know the names of them, but the Homo sapiens and the
Yeah.
okay, and then all of a
Neanderthals,
sudden
Homo
there's a
sapiens.
great big jump.
Cro-Magnon.
There's a big jump in intelligence.
Definitely.
Now,
There's a missing link still.
yeah. So
Now, wait a minute. They have traced mitochondrial DNA back to hominid that they call Eve, that I believe was in Africa, located in Africa, and is said to be the top descendant from all other races on the planet. She is.
Huh.
The number one. So, in the hominid, in the, I guess, the realm of evolution. But that still doesn't explain the jump in intelligence, like you said, from.
Well, it
Yeah.
just happened in such. I mean, it was still 1,000 years or something. It wasn't in a day or a week. But,
but
as time runs, it just jumps so fast for that amount of time.
Well, what's interesting is they still don't know
Right.
where, Cro-Magnon man, us, modern humans, or is it Cro-Magnon? Anyways, modern human, they don't know when our skull shape changed to accommodate a larger brain, and they don't know where it jumped from Neanderthal to.
Yeah, I mean, it was a
Modern man.
jump. It wasn't
Yeah, there wasn't a, right, exactly.
an evolution of it that they
Now,
can trace.
we do know that Neanderthal man and modern human did coexist on the planet
At the same time, yes.
and they did intermingle and did interbreed,
Yes.
because there are people around still that have Neanderthal blood.
Yes.
So there's that, but that still doesn't explain from hominid chimp to evolved human
Right.
that jump.
Yeah, because it was a jump.
Right. And all the other branches that came off from, hominids back then.
Right.
We weren't the only ones that were walking on two legs. We weren't the only ones that were,
Right.
that were thinking. We may have been the only ones that had reason, and maybe evolution did play a part of that, I don't know.
No.
Hard saying. But then there's that other thought. How do we get all these monuments built? How do we get all these pyramids built? How do we get all these things built back in the day?
Yeah, they're
Well, they say, well, they use slaves or whatever, Well, okay.
It just doesn't make sense.
Well, think about this. There's if you look in all the Egyptian,
Right.
tombs and things, they have these portrayals of gods, okay? They have portrayals of these weird,
Yeah.
dog-shaped head guys with,
Yeah.
Right.
Bird.
bird head guy,
Yeah.
and, all that. What is it, Anubis and, anyways, some of the others. I don't know all the names of them, but if you think about that, and hey, what if those were aliens at
Right.
that time, and said,
Right.
hey, we need this, pyramid built so we could, we're gonna shoot some vibrations up in space, because if you notice, all these pyramids are lined up with the Orion's belt up there,
Right.
we gotta shoot something that way, okay?
Right.
So we need these pyramids built.
Right.
So how are we gonna get them built?
And there is evidence that is what they were used for.
Right. So how are we gonna get them built? Slaves.
Lots of them.
Lots of them. Right. So I think the ancient alien theorists believe that the pyramids are much, much older than what we think.
Right.
So,
Right.
that being said, it's very well possible that an alien race could have came down here and said, hey,
We can do this.
there's a Cro-Magnon man over there, Neanderthal. He's beating his head on a rock,
But he's
pretty strong.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. It's a pretty big rock. Why don't we just take that and tweak him a little bit,
Right.
get him to move some shit for us. And there they sat and watched.
Yeah, and then there's this show I seen. I don't remember what the show was, but it was about the H's. Do you know what I'm talking about? The rocks.
Yeah, down
They're cut
down to
so
South America.
So finely cut that if you put your thumb, and run it down the edge, it will cut your thumb.
No,
So sharply cut. And
What's
a
interesting
stonemason
about that-
today said there's no way we could do that.
right. What's interesting about that is, I know a little bit about lasers myself,
Right,
technologically,
right.
and I know a little bit about hydro cutting,
Cutting.
things of that nature. I've actually used to program laser systems to cut metal, ceramics, and other things of that nature. And from the tolerances that they're talking about, not being able to fit a
Piece of
piece
paper.
of paper
through.
between the seams of these huge
Right.
granite blocks.
You ain't gonna hand chisel that.
Shit, no. Not
I
gonna
mean, what
sand
do
it
you
flat
do? Go,
either.
oops, I screwed up. That
Not
took
gonna
us
hand chisel
500 years. Well, get another one. I mean, seriously.
It took me 100 years to get this one.
Well, no, I mean, generations on some of this stuff.
Shit. Yeah, we chipped it. Fucked
Yeah,
it up.
it's
Got to get
chipped.
another
It's
one.
too far in.
That's it. My great grandson's going to pay for this one.
Yeah. He's working overtime.
That's right. They didn't have glue back then. So, yeah, that's strange though. I mean, how do you, explain?
Right. And they're massive.
Yeah, how do you explain that? And it's not just one or two.
No.
It's a wall.
Yeah, it's a wall with this big, huge, 100-some-odd ton in the middle of it, up in the air. I mean,
Right, exactly.
it doesn't make no sense.
None at all.
How would you even get it moved to there? I don't care how many slaves you have.
Exactly.
It's just.
I watched.
Now reverse gravity.
That's something.
It
To think
is.
about.
It is.
Now, Nikola Tesla actually came out and said that there is a energy that is permeated through the air that if could be harnessed would, be able to power cities,
Right.
and power,
Yeah, that's
anything.
what he wanted to do.
And that's exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he was a great man.
Well, I believe that there was something going on back then, and somebody knew what the hell they were doing before Nikola Tesla was even born. Before anybody was like that was even born.
Right.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
Right.
Not 5,000 years ago.
Right.
I'm talking hundreds of thousands of years ago,
Right.
maybe?
Well,
Huh?
this planet's like 5 billion years old. Or
Yeah,
something,
exactly. That's another thing. If you get religion playing into this, and then they think that, they think that modern humans are only 5,000 years old.
So. Yeah, and there's people that think the planet's flat too.
I understand.
Hey, more power to you.
Yep.
But
Not that I don't believe in a higher power.
Well, if it was flat, I mean, cats would have pushed everything off the edge. That's all I gotta say.
It ain't no doubt. That's where all the fucking left-handed socks went that you can't find. They're out the edge of the fucking earth
Well,
because your cat
actually,
threw 'em off the edge of
They
the planet.
did do a scientific thing about that on one of the shows I watched, and they said if the Earth really was flat, that it would have spun so fast that it would have shredded in pieces, and that gravity would have pulled it back into a sphere. Because that's why we're a sphere, is because of gravity pulled us into a sphere.
Exactly.
I believe in some science, not all science. I
Well,
do.
I believe if you, let's see, have you ever watched how they make a jawbreaker?
No.
Well, they start with a little bitty pea-sized thing about this big of sugar,
And then start spinning.
and then they start rolling it and
Yeah.
spinning it and spinning it and spinning it and
Right.
spinning it. Now, as this thing's spinning inside the drum, it's not only spinning all the way around the drum, it's spinning on itself.
Right.
That's exactly how our Earth was formed back when the Big Bang
Right.
Theory came through.
Right.
Big Bang, all these rocks, big star, big gravitational pull,
Yeah.
big circle. If you look at our galaxy, it's
Started
a big,
going,
right.
and then all of a sudden a big old asteroid hit it when it was molten yet.
Look
And
at our
that's where
moon.
the moon came, and
Yeah.
that came within like a 2-day period, dude, or less.
oh yeah, there's some weird shit
The
going on.
moon
on our
was
moon,
developed. Yeah.
too.
It's like, holy smokes.
That's an interesting thing too. How come we haven't been back to our moon since the fucking moon landing?
Well, they're saying, hey, bring back moon rock. What the hell? It's just the Earth.
Well,
Well, I mean, come on, think about it. It really is
yeah,
part of the
it's
Earth.
just dust, yeah, space dust.
You know? Well, yeah, you'd have more stuff. I
Exactly.
mean, that's like they got asteroids that are, you know, or meteorites or whatever you want to call them that hit the Earth. There's thousands a day almost, little whatever.
yeah, little
They
particles.
said, yeah, particles that actually will pass through your body
Yes.
and you don't even realize other than you got a little pain in your whatever leg or something
Right,
for some
photon or whatever.
stupid, yeah, some stupid reason.
Yeah.
But on some of these larger ones and that, they're discovering there's life on them. Life form,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Bacterial life.
Yeah, I mean, so that's outer space. So that's alien. So, I mean, it all comes down to what came out of the outer space years ago that created what we are,
Well, yeah.
you know.
We're
I'm not-
we're primordial stew.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
yeah.
what we are. We're leftovers from what got blown up
You know.
billions and billions of years
Yeah,
ago.
and traveled trillions of miles. Or
And still traveling.
light years. or
And still
whatever.
traveling.
Right,
The universe is ever expanding.
right.
Don't know if it ever has a limit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they didn't realize it was as big as it was
No, they
40,
didn't.
50 years ago.
Fuck
You know
no.
what I mean?
They thought just on the outside of our galaxy. it
Yeah,
must have been
I've
just
watched
you know.
that, like the Hubble scope and the
Oh,
progress
Jesus.
that's made, and it's like, holy good God,
If you think about this
there's a
shit,
lot
man.
out there. Tell me there ain't other intelligent life form. I don't believe it.
There are billions of stars in our own solar system.
Yeah, they said
In our own
millions.
solar system.
Yeah, millions of Earth-like planets.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We just haven't found one of them yet.
In the
That's
Mil- In
totally
the Milky
ca-
Way galaxy, there's billions and
Right.
billions and billions of planets
Yeah.
and stars.
Right.
Just our own galaxy.
They figured a few hundred when they
Right.
first thought about this.
I mean, think of what it would
man, there
take.
can't be more than.
Think of what it's going to take for us to even get out of our own galaxy.
Oh
I-
yeah, you're talking generations.
Yeah,
dude.
we're not even close.
No,
We're not even.
I mean
we can't even get to Mars. In
I mean,
80
just-
years.
yeah.
You know.
to travel there.
To
Yeah,
Mars.
it's going to take you
It's a
years and
lifetime.
years and years. Yeah.
Or 8 years or some shit like that. to
Yeah,
travel.
it's not. I don't
Yeah,
believe
it's
but,
like 8
yeah.
years. But once
But
you
you're
get there,
traveling at so many thousand,
yeah.
miles an hour, and it still takes you 8 years. You know.
That's what I'm saying, man. What the fuck? 8 years. That's a long time.
There's people signed up wanting to go.
I know.
It's a
But-
one-way ticket, man. You ain't
You ain't
coming,
coming
back.
They ain't going to get you.
No,
No. You're going to be Mars farmers.
you won't even be farmers. You'll probably be scrap metal,
That's crap.
all pressed in onto yourself
Right.
like a can of sardines.
Okay, we're going to
man.
ship you over there and you're going to have to learn how to
Yeah.
make water and air.
Yeah. And some kind of
On your own.
atmosphere. Well, I think they do have water on Mars. Not like it's
Right.
drinkable.
I
It's
think they
H2O
believe that they
or
have
whatever.
frozen water on Mars
Yeah.
below the surface, I believe is what the...
Well, they've shown pictures on Mars of what looks to appear to be a sphinx and what appears to be a pyramid. I don't know if you've ever seen
I
them.
have seen
But
those.
it really does. And when you set it up next to a picture at the same angle, it looks similar. You know, like they were placed in the same positioning.
Right. No,
So-
there is such a thing as...
And I'm not saying that's a true photograph either, but it does make you wonder.
I believe they're true photographs, but I believe that the human brain is designed to...
that can do that.
It's
too.
designed to pick out human features itself
Right.
in shadows or shapes.
And it will.
And it will. If
Yes.
you look at clouds or whatever, it'll
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look into, if you're looking like into a forest or something and you're looking through the trees, dark shapes or light shapes and things of that nature in through the trees, you'll start to look and it'll look like something or whatever, something moving or something looking at you or whatever.
Right.
Mind plays tricks on you sometimes.
Yes, it does.
Right? But there are experiences where the mind does not playing a trick on you and you know that something's up and you're not sure exactly what it is.
Or you don't want to believe it.
Right. Case in point, me and a buddy of mine were driving one time and we were going down the road and we stopped. I had a moonroof in my truck at the time. We stopped at a stop sign and some odd reason a flash of light comes down and strikes the top of my hood. A red beam of light come down like a fan, like almost like a laser.
This ain't gonna end up with you being anally probed, is it?
No, we didn't get
Okay,
any
good.
probed. Not that I'm aware of, anyway.
Good.
I didn't get any regression
Right,
therapy to
right.
find out. Be honest with you, I'm not all that interested in that
I don't
aspect
want
of
to
the
know.
story.
I
Right.
don't want to know.
You was kind of a fucking weirdo. But anyways, no, we stopped at the stop sign and this fucking light hit the hood of the car and it traveled up the car and over top of the car and then vanished. And that's all I remember of it.
Right.
But it was so strange because when it went through the moonroof, it kind of lit up the inside of the car too.
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like a scan, and I was looking through the roof, the moonroof, trying to figure out what the hell it was. And I couldn't see a source.
It was probably looking for intelligent life. It just kept moving on.
Yeah. I was driving GMC at the time. But no, it was very odd. I've never had anything like that happen before or since.
Right.
And I'm a prime candidate for abductions too because I don't remember shit when I go to sleep. If I go to sleep, I'm out. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Little green fucks can come out and abduct
Oh,
me.
yeah.
They can abduct my ass, take me up to outer space, and I'd still snore through it. But I'm waking up at 6 a.m. They better have some fucking coffee on. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I got several big dogs, and they can bark when I'm sleeping. I don't wake up.
Right. I don't know. I think it's just, I know that Sandy Sue's awake until 3 or 4,
Right.
And she's a mean chick, so...
I just pretend to keep sleep.
If anybody breaks in the house, I'm pretty sure she's going to stab them. So. But on the other hand, I don't want to piss her off either because I sleep very soundly, like I said.
Right.
Things could get weird. So I used to live out in the desert, and out there, man, you could see like for miles. I mean, the stars look like you could just reach up and grab them, and it's not the case, of course, but you could just see nothing but black sky for miles and miles and miles and miles. And of course, I didn't know that Skinwalker Ranch was out there in Utah at the time, or all these other weird
Right.
places,
Yeah.
But man, it's a strange feeling out there. It really is. If you've ever been out to the desert.
I've been to Arizona and yeah, Nevada. I've been quite a few places out to the west and Texas. Right. So yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, well, some of the Indian tribes out there, the older tribes that have the wall paintings on red rocks and things of that nature, and arches and things, and they depict giant alien type looking things. I don't know how to explain it. It's like they have antennas and helmets.
Right.
And they look like they're huge.
Right.
Look like aliens to me.
They're put next to what they just depict as them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like twice their size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's it was the Hopi Indian? I think it was the Hopis and oh crap, I don't even know the ones that were all through Utah and Arizona, and I know Pueblos and some other tribes were present.
I have no idea.
But man, they're just so strange. Some of the legends, some of the paintings, some of the stories that you get from the native people, on how that they came to be.
Right.
And they tell a story of, of their existence coming to be from the people from the sky, the friends, their sky friends.
Right.
They brought them here, and they nurtured them, and they taught them. And
well, I don't want to get, involved in the Bible or nothing because,
Yeah.
I mean, I was brought up Catholic.
So was I.
Catholic school.
I should say this. My family was brought up Catholic.
Right. Well, I went to Catholic schools and stuff, but they have part in the Bible talking about Moses getting his tablets, right? And
sure.
It's about him going up into the mountains and a thunderous cloud comes down and a door opens and he walks in or something like that. It's been a while since I've read it, I'll tell you that much. But
the burning bush and the tablets.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, like God's just going to send down his elevator?
Right. All right, take us down.
Well, I'm not trying.
Right, exactly.
And don't get me wrong. I believe that people need faith and something to have faith in, so I'm not trying to cut it down any. But it kind of makes you wonder if it's an alien ship that had come down and the door opened and he walked in.
True.
That'd make almost more sense to me.
It very well.
Now, I'm not saying what I read in the Bible is wrong.
Well, no. If you
but
look
it's
through
the
religion,
way they seen it.
If you look through religion in general, not just Catholicism,
right,
but also Hinduism,
right,
and other forms of religion, they have depictions of floating craft, godlike beings,
right.
All these things that very well could be alien.
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we could be on some kid's dresser as a worm farm or an ant farm.
Right.
How would we know?
We don't.
How do they know when they're on your kids'
What blows my mind is this. I've had people that passed on that I would have thought would have contacted me with some information from the other side. Right? No. You probably know people that passed on that you would have thought
would have
came back and just told you everything. Would have sat you down and said, hey, okay, I'm dead. Here's the scoop.
Well, I don't know if everybody is contactable. I think that some choose, for some unknown reason, not to step across completely, as in they may have unfinished business or something, or just don't want to face the fact. But I had my nieces, my ex asked me, who's this Mexican guy I keep seeing? I'm like, I don't know. She goes, well, he keeps coming around. He's saying something that he wants to see his kids or something. I said, well, that's my brother-in-law that died, and it'd be his daughters he wants to see. so we had the daughters come, and they got to talk to their dad.
Right.
Well, they went back to, because he was no longer married to my sister, he was remarried. And the wife of him, when he died, went to see somebody because she heard, okay, and that they called them. And then my ex-wife at that point could not read anything. Like he was completely out of the picture for her. So if somebody else calls them over, they might not be able to have the ability to come back.
Right.
You know, because I was rebuilding.
Now, like I said before, I totally believe that there's another side, and I know that there's another side.
I think spirits can't cross through walls and doorways like people think they can.
I think the walls and the doorways thing is, I don't think that's a intelligent haunting. I think that might be a residual thing that's recorded in the physical aspects of the room.
No, I had a garage that I built into a bedroom and a mudroom and all this, and at that time you had to walk out of the kitchen into the garage, turn a corner and go down into the basement. It was really dumb, so I made a bedroom and the rest of the house out of it. And I took the basement door off. I knocked the wall out of the kitchen into the garage area. And in that project I was drywalling at night, actually 42 hours straight. But that didn't have nothing to do with it. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm hanging drywall, and I could feel somebody was watching me. I mean, I knew somebody was watching me.
Yes, we've had that feeling.
Well, the next morning, the ex woke up, came over, and she says, "We have a ghost in the house." And all the hair on my whole body just, it is a little bit now, stood right up. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is freaking me out. This is when this is all kind of come into a head, you know?
Right. Quit saying shit like that.
And yeah, don't say that. And she goes, yeah, his name's Stan.
His name's Stan.
He was 56 years old.
Okay.
And he likes it here because my house has never been a party house. You know, I've always been kind of...
low-key.
Yeah, you know, so... And he liked it because it was always calm and relaxing there. But yeah, that kind of freaked me out. But he never could come upstairs to our house because the door was always shut, she said. So that makes me wonder, you know.
Well, he couldn't physically open the latch himself.
Right, so he couldn't pass
could not
through.
Manifest passing through the solid door. Interesting. But there's got to be. There are people who see apparitions all the time. Okay. Matter of fact, me and my cousin, we both seen an apparition at the same time. Okay, so that's validation enough for knowing exactly what we seen. Okay.
Right.
And this happened when we were staying at our grandparents' house. We were probably 15, 16, something like that. We were up there for a Thanksgiving celebration. Stayed overnight. Me and my cousin stayed in the living room, which you could see a view of the hallway, which led to the bathroom.
Right.
If you turned right, it would go to the bathroom. If you turned left, it would go to the kitchen. Okay, so there was a hallway, a definite hallway. And the light was on in the bathroom, of course. And then there was a night light on in the kitchen as well. So me and my cousin were laying there on the old sofa bed that we pulled out, you know.
Yep.
And we're bullshitting and talking. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see my great-grandmother walk from one side of the hallway, through the hallway, into the kitchen. And I looked at my cousin, and he was looking at me, and he said, "Did you just see that?" I said, "Yeah." So that was Grandma Hibbard, you know.
Right.
Well, she had been dead for 10 years. Okay.
Yeah, it was something
So-
they did. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but she
what
had
you're
been dead for
going.
10 years, so she wasn't even on the planet any
Right.
longer, you know, or at least not in this dimension any longer.
Right, but at that time, she probably got up and used to
Oh yeah, she
go and
probably
start
walked
making
that.
dinner or whatever.
She probably walked that aisleway from the bedroom, bathroom to the kitchen
Right, exactly.
thousands of times through her lifetime.
Right.
So, but that was one of our. So yeah, we do. You know, people see apparitions. So
Yep.
there's got to be something to why they can show themselves, or why it might even be an accidental thing, or it might just be. It might even be a atmospheric thing.
Right.
You know, the conditions might have to be just exactly right. You know what I mean? For you to see, you know.
Right. We were at a funeral of my ex mother-in-law, and my grandkids were sitting with me because their dad was up front. It was his grandma, and my grandson was, I don't know, I think 3 or 4, 2 or 3. And I kept telling him, you gotta be quiet. You know, just sit still. And my ex was with me at the time. We were divorced. And we were sitting next to each other, and my grandson's head turned towards the right and kind of followed right up to the aisle we were in. And when it was all said and done, we got outside, and the ex-wife told me, she says, remember when he turned his head and that? I said, yeah. Well, originally she was up there blowing kisses to everybody that came to her to see her funeral. And then she came down that aisle and came and sat down right next to us because my mother was sitting right with us. So she was good friends of my mother's. So, yeah. You know, kids, young age, like 4's teetering on it, but 3 years and younger, they see things.
No, that goes back to what I said earlier before about your pineal gland getting calcified. You know,
Yeah.
if you think about that, we've all been drinking fluorinated water for so many years.
Right.
Me and you, anyways. Nowadays, not so much with everybody else because they're drinking bottled water.
Well, I'm not a big city water fan, and
yeah,
I've never.
but you don't
really
even know
have
the
been.
bottled water is.
Right.
You don't even know what's in that. So.
But I've drank other things that probably didn't help.
What I'm saying is, I always thought that children and animals were more sensitive, of course, to the unseen.
Yep. Most
Because,
definitely.
yeah, I think as we get older, we just get to a point to where we can't actually physically view it any longer. You know what I mean?
Yep. Changes in your brain.
Changes in your brain, changes in your eyesight, changes in, physical changes in you, actually, chemical.
Hell, I can barely see anything anymore at
Me
my
too.
age.
Now the cataract was replaced. And I think I remember I told you this, that at one point, right after the surgery, I was standing actually out there in the other room, and I'd seen somebody walk from...
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, from the corner of my eye, I seen somebody walk from the bedroom, across the living room, to our patio door, and look out the door, and stand there and looking out the door. And I'm seeing this out of the corner of my eye. And then when I turned and looked, nothing was there.
Right.
Now,
And then didn't you have it happen one more time?
I did have it happen one more time. And it was also just soon after that cataract surgery,
Right.
And same thing, right out of the corner of the eye.
Right.
something that definitely was there. You know, walked through. There was a definite shape, a definite movement, definitely something moving. Now,
Yeah, and you're not where traffic is.
no,
Where
no,
he's
no,
at, you can't.
not at all.
There's no cars turning
No,
or shining
there's
on the
no,
house or
no.
anything like
Out the
that.
patio is a lake, and it's
So
that's
yeah,
so there's no car traffic. There's no,
right. Nothing that would
nothing
portray
that would,
a shadow or anything.
not
like
even
that.
close.
Right.
No, we don't have enough windows for that. For reflection play,
Right.
especially in the middle of the day.
Right.
So, yeah, that was kind of freaky. I had thought it was my fiance at one time, and then no.
Yeah, I remember you
It
saying
was
you
not.
asked her.
I asked her because she
Yep.
had gotten up like 2 hours after I'd seen it, because I didn't pay any attention to it the first time it happened. I had just thought in my brain it was my fiance standing at the window, looking out there because it was early morning. It's exactly what I thought.
Right.
That was definitely not the case because she got up 2 hours later, and I said, "Wasn't you up earlier just looking out the patio?" And she said, "No,
Right.
it wasn't. No." I went, "Holy shit!" So yeah, that's happened a couple times, and that's why I say sometimes that maybe I think that it's a physical change in the eye or a physical change in the brain, or a combination of both.
Yep.
Because when I got the artificial lens, and then once it still wasn't formulated to my eye, so I was seeing the edges of it, the actual edge of the implant,
Right.
and seeing off of that edge. You know what I mean?
Right.
Past that edge. So I think that might have had something to do with it, the seeing past the edge of the lens. There's something that may be blocking our
Well, there's
perception.
so many things that with the brain. I mean, I can remember that I was man, I think it was like a little 80 chaparral that I was on. And we had a cabin up near the foot dam. And I was about 2 miles away, just humming along on this little thing. No worries. I was by myself, just. And I could hear my sister yelling at my dad about me. And when I got back, I went up to my sister that's 5 years older than me, and I said, "Did you say this and this and this to Dad about me?" And she looked at me like she seen a ghost.
Huh.
So there is some kind of
Perception.
yeah. I mean, because there's no way. But I heard her clear as day. I mean, I'm on. It
Yeah.
wasn't a quiet motorcycle. It was, modified, so it didn't have the silencer part of it in it.
That's
I didn't
funny,
burn
too.
no trees down. But yeah, I mean, the mind can definitely pull some tricks on you too.
Sure. But, that kind of brings up a point of remote viewing almost, if you think about it.
Right.
Because you heard her over a distance.
Yeah, I mean, this was a couple miles.
Right.
2 miles, because I was up by the foot dam, and we were more by Orchard Park, if you know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in that area is where the cabin was, so there's no way I could have heard her.
No. Not
I
at
mean,
all.
Orchard Park and the foot dam is probably a mile, maybe. And, I don't know. It's probably a mile and a half.
Mile
Two and a half. 2 miles.
The dam store.
The dam store, Desi's.
Yep.
Still a good place to eat. The last time I went, it's been a few years.
There you go. Shameless plug.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. I love Desi's. He was a good man. I knew him personally. He was a
There
kid.
you go. Shameless plug. Talking to the girlfriend.
Just she's texting me. I haven't wrote too much.
Yeah.
I said we're still on. She didn't send you a picture, did she?
No.
Okay, I didn't want to show you nothing like that. I've never gotten that.
Not on the air.
Living on the edge.
Oh, man.
Uh,
Okay, well, I think we're going to conclude our recording for the evening. We've talked about a lot of weird shit.
can get weird.
And I think that, over a period of time and looking at everything that's been experienced by me, you, some other people that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if I could get the ex-wife, but now I got a girlfriend. She don't talk to me. She lives with me. It sucks.
Yeah,
it'd be cool for her to be able, but even anonymously. But I don't think she would. She don't want nobody to know.
Yeah, that's fine.
So-
But if she wants to write her story down and email it to the Anonymous John Podcast,
Right? Maybe she'd
I
do
can read
that.
that on the air. And
But I mean,
I wouldn't use her name.
she sees them as they were. I mean, if it's a little baby in the grave, that's what she sees. You
Right.
know? So it's really disturbing to her. She gets major migraines from it.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy.
understand that.
I mean,
a lot of
there's-
empaths or mediums do get drained.
People she's seen from 30 yards away, and she goes, "Oh my God, there's Mr. and Mrs. such and such." Ma goes, "What are you talking about? How could you read the plaque from there in a mausoleum? You know, it's only a little, probably a 4x2 plaque, you know what I mean?"
Right.
And her ma ran up there, and sure as hell it was Mr. and Mrs., you know.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "How in the world did you see that?" Well, she didn't see the plaque, she seen them waving at her.
Right.
So there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. If she's interested in writing something down and emailing it to the Anonymous John Podcast at gmail.com, I'll read it on the air.
So did you get that? So you can send in yours? Say
That's
it
right.
again.
Anonymous John Podcast at gmail.com.
There you go.
All right, man. I think that's going to do it for us for the night. Say goodbye.
Peace out.
Bye.
The Anonymous John Podcast.